After a trip to the upholstery shop and a final assembly of the bumpers and trim pieces at Tom's, the 56 Chevy Sedan delivery is ready for its close-up. Owner Gary Howard explains more.
The car really turned out well, and it did turn out well thanks to all the hard work of all the true craftsmen that worked on the car. Tom Horvath, the paint and body man, Daryl Nance and his group down at DP and Huntington Beach, and all the folks that powder painted folks and so forth that did such a great job. Well, when we bought the car, it was basically a basket case. It was just a shell sitting on a frame. I got bags and boxes and Ziploc bags that were clearly marked, but still I had to reassemble the car. And boy, there's a lot of pieces in a 56 Chevy. Well, the interior of the car, this is one of the few things that we decided to make it a little more upscale. We designed the interior of the car around the 56 210 station wagon, which the 210 wagon is a little bit nicer than the 150 series. And Cars over in Fullerton, they provided the complete interior kit to us. Carpet headliner, the original pattern for the bucket seats. The bucket seats in the car are the original bucket seats that came on a 56 Sedan delivery. So it just makes it a lot nicer car to drive, and it's a lot more comfortable this way. Well, when we bring this car to shows, people just walk around it and they just can't believe that a 150 Sedan delivery has come out looking this good and has all these options on it. Power steering, power brakes, air conditioning. That was a factory option in 56, and it's just a really amazing car. You just don't see another one like it.
We know Gary's going to have a lot of fun driving and showing off that fully restored 56 Chevy Sedan delivery. Now let's take you out for a trip to the annual Morro Bay, California Car Show.
It's a terrific show.
Welcome back to Classic Car Garage. Well, in this part of the program, we're going to show you how to document and plan your restoration. Well, Tom, the first thing I think that everybody needs is lots and lots of these dollar bills, because after all, restoration is not an inexpensive hobby, is it?
No, it's not. It's very expensive.
And with labor rates at $45, $55, $65, $75 an hour, if you don't learn to do some of the work yourself, you're going to spend a ton of money, far more than if you'd gone out and bought that car already restored, right?
Yes.
But of course you won't have the fun of restoring it, and you can't involve the family with it. And that's my next tip, is to get the wife, get the kids, get your whole family involved in this. It's a great family project, and it certainly will make spending the money just a little bit easier. Okay, second tip here is to photograph everything. Get yourself a little camera. Now we've got this little digital still camera here, and we may take 100, 150 pictures of every car that comes into the shop here, so that we know exactly how things look. Take a picture from the front, from an angle, go all the way around the car, every component before you take it off that car. Take a picture of it, because believe you me, your memory will not be as good as you'd like it to be when it comes time to put that car back together again. So take lots and lots of pictures. And when you begin to disassemble the car, here's another trick and a tip too, is get yourself lots and lots of these baggies here and put the parts in the bag, label what they are and where they go, because again, Tom, you won't remember where those parts went. Now, as far as the order of restoration, body, paint, mechanical, so forth, what's the order that you recommend?
Always look to the manufacturer. The manufacturer does all of the dirty work first, the paint and body work. That's going to be the part where you get a lot of overspray, or at least you have the potential for a lot of overspray on parts and pieces. You don't want to have any of that on nice new engine or suspension pieces, or like the chassis that we're going to have on this car is going to be all powder coated. So finish all the paint and body work first. And then you start the assembly process and put all the new components back on a nice new chassis and painted body.
So the body work first, then go into the mechanical work. Once you've set the body aside, then you can do your upholstery, those things hopefully out of the car, with the exception of things like headliners and so forth. And then finally, the last step is to reassemble the whole thing. 20% of the restoration, but usually takes 80% of the time too.
It sure does.
A little trial and error. That's where those pictures are going to come in handy. Obviously, literature is very important. We couldn't do without a shop manual like this one. Now, this is for a 57 truck. It's close, but not the right thing for our project car, but you get the idea here, because it's going to show you everything that you need to know as to how to get that car apart and put it back together again. Where do you get something like this? Well, it's called the Bible of the industry, and it's Hemmings Motor News. This comes out monthly from Hemmings Motor News up in Burlington, Vermont, and it's going to show you everything in here, from cars for sale to parts, literature, services. You name it, it's in here. It's a monthly. You can buy it on most good newsstands, or you can get it from Hemmings Motor News in Burlington, Vermont. Now, as far as catalogs and so forth goes, again, as far as that goes, Eastwood has these great restoration catalogs. Craftsman Tools is where you'll find most of the hand tools that you're going to need. And Tom, that brings up another good point too, right? Buying the best tools that you can.
Absolutely. That was one of the things that my dad taught me a long time ago. Always buy the best tools you can afford, and they'll serve you well.
Right.
A lot of the tools that I still have today are the tools that I first bought a long time ago.
Right, over 20 years ago.
Over 20 years
Craftsman hand tools, of course, are very, very good. They come with a good lifetime warranty, and they've got just about everything that you're going to need. Here's another little piece of literature that we recommend. It's the Classic Car Garage Restoration Planner. What this will allow you to do is to sort of track your restoration, how much money you've got into your car, and what sort of labor and hours. It's got a place here to put your photographs. Also, the pages are broken up into chassis, suspension, body work, electrical, engine, etc., and miscellaneous. This will allow you to put a total number of hours and dollars, and you can find this on the Classic Car Garage website. Beyond that, safety equipment's real important too, Tom, right?
Absolutely.
Good set of goggles.
Yep, you only got one set of eyes.
That's
so
right.
You might as well protect them.
Exactly. Also, Jim Richardson from our program has written a couple of books, the Classic Car Restorer's Handbook, which is invaluable, and also exclusive to Tri-5 Chevys. One of Jim's latest books is the Tri-5 Chevy Handbook. Both these from HP Books. You can buy them from most good online booksellers. Some of the tools that we've got here as well too, Tom. This is a pneumatic tool. This is a dual action sander, right?
Yeah, this is made by Dynabrade. Dynabrade is absolutely superior in dual action sanders. Been around a long time, really nice smooth tool. You can use it for a long, long time without getting tired.
And that's going to take an air compressor too. We suggest at least 5 horsepower.
At least a 5 horse.
Right.
You don't want to run down, you don't want to overwork the air compressor or run down the tools. So use at least a 5 horse air compressor.
As well as a good buffer too. Now we've got our Baldor buffing wheel back here we got from Eastwood Products. We would recommend at least 1/3 of a horsepower. Ours back here is 3/4 of a horsepower, and that's going to come in real handy, save you a lot of time and money when it comes to buffing out that stainless.
Yep.
Finally, if you get energetic and enthusiastic, I think a good set of body tools you've got to have, because you want to learn to do some of that body work yourself. Now don't go pounding on your good body panels on your project car. Get an old fender from a place like Memory Lane, the classic car salvage yard in Sun Valley, California, and go to work on those. Tom, how much does a good set of body tools like this cost, just basics?
Probably $50 to $75, but we've got a really great set of tools that we got from Tools USA that we get to show the viewers when we get to that segment.
Right, our friend Buddy Turner down there in Bruce, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That is pretty much what you're going to need to do your restoration. Now, when we come back here on Classic Car Garage, we've got the new product segment for you. Stay with us. Welcome to beautiful Buena Park, California. We're deep into the OC today for the 26th annual Fun Under the Sun Replica and Kit Car Show here at Knott's Berry Farm. This whole thing is being put on by the Association of Handcrafted Automobiles. And on today's show, you'll see everything in terms of state-of-the-art replica and kit cars. There are, of course, the Cobras that you've seen, as well as things like Ferraris and Lamborghinis. There are, of course, those cars built in the Volkswagen chassis. And my favorite, the Porsche Speedster.
Every year, the Association of Handcrafted Automobiles kicks off their show season with the Fun Under the Sun event, held in the grounds of Knott's Berry Farm, south of Los Angeles, in Orange County, California. This is the biggest handcrafted auto show on the West Coast, and this particular event attracted more than 200 vehicles and around 30 manufacturers from all over the country. This large gathering of manufacturers, builders, and hobbyists shows off what's new and improved over the past year. Nearly every type of kit or replica is represented here, from the sporty Porsche Speedsters and the nostalgic 550 Spiders to the exotic Lamborghinis and the ever-popular muscular Cobras, to the rarer but elegant Gullwing Mercedes, neoclassic Auburns, the Meyers Manxes, and some pretty unusual one-off hand-built vehicles. Jim Youngs is the editor of Kit Car magazine. His wife Carolyn, who's also known as the Queen Bee, is the publisher. Together, they act as goodwill ambassadors to the kit and replica hobby. Because of Jim's experience building kit cars, he's often asked for advice on getting started.
Usually the biggest stumbling block to building a kit car is time and space and some dedicated tools that a guy might need. Those are the biggest stumbling blocks. This is starting from scratch, really. No matter how easy, quote unquote, the kit may be, you're still building a car, and there's a lot of parts, a lot of tools that are necessary, and just lots and lots and lots of time.
And Jim says that as a first-time builder, you're likely to encounter some unforeseen and unplanned challenges.
The degree of difficulty in building a kit car would depend on the kind of car that a guy really wants to build, and if the person is not skilled or doesn't have the right tools or that sort of thing, then I would suggest something a little bit easier, like a rebody of a production car, Roadster, some Mercedes rebodies and things like that are a little bit easier to deal with, because then you're not dealing with heavy-duty mechanical aspects like brakes and engines and transmissions and things like that.
Because more than likely, you'll be buying a kit from one of the many manufacturers in the hobby. It's a good idea to do a lot of research and planning and get references on the companies building the kit car you want, so you don't end up stuck with a car from a company that's no longer in business.
I think the best way of finding a reputable company and knowing that you're getting exactly what you're paying for, et cetera, is to do your homework. I always suggest people visit the company. That's very important. And secondary to that, I would ask for a customer list from their customers and call those people. Look at some of our resource books and that sort of thing. Just you got to do your homework.
Well, JPS Motorsports was started in 1989 to develop replicas. Prior to that, we'd been in the custom car and street rod restoration business, and we moved into kit cars in '89. In 1990, we introduced our first replica speedster at the Knott's Berry Farm show, and in '91, we delivered our first customer car. And it seemed like originally we got into business to build kits, but we ended up selling mostly turnkeys. There's only two types of speedsters that we do, and we do the flared car and we do the classic body. Body dimensions are pretty much spot on. The original bodies, fiberglass molds, were taken off original cars, but 54 through 58 Porsches were a hand-built body, and as such, no two were exactly alike. One hood off of one 57 Porsche will not fit another 57 Porsche, unlike the fiberglass bodies where most of the body parts are interchangeable. We've had kits that start, turnkey cars starting at $22,900, and we've had them go crazy as high as over $40,000.
I purchased Shell Valley in 1997 and Mid-States in 1999. So between the two companies, we're pushing almost 50 years of Cobra experience. Cobra is really just a lot of fun. You know, I tell people that, you know, it's one of those cars that once you drive it, it's got a sound of its own. Right? There's no other car sounds like them, and it's one of those ground pounders that when you've driven one of those, you just, it's an experience that you'll never forget. And there's nothing really practical about them other than they're hot and they ride sort of rough, and they're just faster than lightning, and boy, are they fun though. They're just a lot of fun to drive. Okay, the Cobra, the typical kit, is about $22,000, and I think that we've got our Daytona priced right. We're at about $28,000 on it, and with our kits, they are rollers when they come into people's shops. All the wheels, brakes, the rear end is in the car, the aluminum radiator's in it, the windshield, so they're basically ready for finishing. There's no fabrication or anything. It's ready to finish. So all you really need with our kit cars are your engine, transmission, and your paint, wheels, and tires.
After 35 years, the famous Meyers Manx are back. These street-legal fiberglass dune buggies are dream designed and brought to reality by the man who started it all, Bruce Meyers.
I started in 1963, and I spent the following year building the first Meyers Manx tooling, after which I took an interest in going to Baja. And that was purely a love of the countryside and seeing the Mexican populace down there, but it turned into something else later. The original one used Volkswagen running gear parts. However, we didn't use the floor pan. The very first 12 Manxes were affectionately known as monocoques because they were simply a fiberglass tub. And what you see today is the same looking thing, but these are sitting on Volkswagen floor pans, which was kind of a way for me to improve the breed, in that I was being rather redundant to ask people to throw away a whole Volkswagen floor pan when there was a lot of stuff there I should have been using. So it was actually costing more to buy the old monocoque, but it wasn't as good a car until I used the floor pan itself, involving myself in the brakes and the pedals and the gears and all the stuff that's in that floor pan. So it was a wise move which suddenly seemed to kick it over the top, after which I wound up over a period of 7 years building about 7,000 kits, about 6,000 of which were the Meyers Manx dune buggy that we've seen around the world. The modern street Manxer is probably an answer to some of the ills of the old early Manxes. The old early Manx was a car that was very, very durable and very simple, but it was sometimes hard to work on. It had a gas tank under the hood, and if you had a leaky gas tank, you spent the weekend tearing your car apart to fix it. Well, this car, all you do is just open the hood up and there's your gas tank. Everything's very accessible. Also, this is not shortened. That thereby simplifies the whole building of the car. The car is a great big erector set. All you do is bolt it together. You don't have to paint anything, you don't have to weld anything. All you do is buy the kit, and with some rattle cans, touch up some stuff, clean up the pan yourself, which is your Volkswagen, and it's basically a stock Volkswagen underneath what you're looking at.
Sure, kit cars look great, but just how easy are they to get registered?
It's kind of always been an ongoing problem as to how you can register your kit cars and title them and whatnot. It unfortunately is a state-by-state issue, and each state is different. California is probably the toughest, although they have some legislation even here that you can register, if it's a replica, you can register it as the car it most closely resembles, and therefore kind of being exempt from smog and that sort of thing. Some states don't have any specifications as to specially constructed vehicles. And we're working with SEMA, the Special Equipment Market Association, currently, and they're going state by state pretty much and coming up with some hot rod, kit car, specialty car legislation that's favorable to our business, to where you can register a 56 Porsche Speedster replica as a 56 Porsche Speedster replica and qualify for whatever smog exemptions there might be in place at that time.
Well, that's our show for today. We hope you've learned a little bit more about replicas and kit cars, one of the fastest growing segments of the automotive hobby.